So I wanted to talk a little bit about walking and mental health, because for me it's just the thing I absolutely need sometimes. This makes me laugh. You'll never see me without a fringe unless I'm walking into the wind. I don't even know what my own forehead looks like. It's weird. I look bald. For me it's something that I know I can do to really help my state of mind, and preferably if I can, obviously I live in the can. And I was, funnily enough, when I was doing my South West Coast Path walk, one of the things I didn't talk about in the book was that I was helping out a colleague at Christchurch University with some research into the psychology of walking for a few of my walks, which meant that as I was walking along I was recording my thoughts at various points in the walk into a voice recorder. And that was a very interesting process for me, because it made me really reflect on what was going on in my head during my walks. And what I realised was that the first hour of a long walk was all about discomfort, actually, normally, and adjustment. I apologise for the bluster of the wind, it's out of my control. I was kind of fretting about my boots not being comfortable enough yet, you know, stopping and relacing my boots, fidgeting about with the straps of my backpack, wondering if my knickers were on straight, you know. It was all about that kind of noticing, physically walking, and often noticing some really uncomfortable sensations about it, as well as noticing lovely scenery and things like that. But I was often griping at the beginning and saying, oh, I don't know if I can do this, I'm feeling a bit achy, I'm feeling a bit tired, I've got a cold. And it's quite interesting to think that actually most of the walks I've done in my whole life up until then had stopped after that hour. And then when I pushed on through, after the kind of first hour was over, I'd enter this quite euphoric state where my thoughts were kind of bubbling up. I'd made space for all these ideas and I felt incredibly creative, and I'd be recording into my voice recorder all these crazy thoughts, like wildly gabbling and getting really excited, like, oh my god, I'm going to write a story about fractals, you know. And God only knows what it was like for those people to receive those voice recordings. There was probably a lot of laughing in the psych labs. And that went on for quite a while, and that was the phase when I had loads of ideas. And then after that, if I pushed on through to a really long walk, there was a kind of third phase when I was really exhausted, and then my mind was kind of blank. I wasn't really having conscious thoughts, and it's a state that I really recognise from meditation, when you're kind of just existing and you're not mechanically thinking about anything. And although I wasn't aware of that at the time, I think that was the most useful part of my journey, because for me I think that's where a lot of the deep reflective work happened, but it happened in a kind of non-verbal way, actually. It happened in a space when I was so tired, I was beyond words, and I was beyond rationalising, I suppose, and justifying, and I'd got past that voice in my head that says, yeah, but, you know. And I wouldn't have really even noticed that state, actually, had I not been trying to voice record it and realising that I had absolutely nothing to say at that point, not in a negative way, but just in a gloriously empty way. And I think when we talk about the mental health benefits of walking, particularly long walks, that's maybe one of the huge benefits, this hugely reflective space. The other benefit, I think, is of course exercise. We know that exercise is very good for keeping us cheerful, for keeping the mind away from anxious thoughts, and for kind of rebalancing those happy hormones. I know it does that for me, and I know feeling fit makes me feel better about a lot of things because I can do a lot of things more easily, I'm less tired. So that's really good. I think beauty is incredibly helpful for mental health. I don't think we talk about it enough. There's a theory that being able to see the horizon is deeply comforting for human beings because it means that we are able to perceive any threats in a very ancient way. I don't know if that's true, but I do know that I do feel a sense of peace when I can see long distances, and the South West Coast Path is fantastic for that. I'm just going to turn you around right now so you can see what I can see as I'm walking, because it's lovely. Can you hear the larks? Yeah. And actually, noticing the larks makes me think of another reason why I think that walking is really good for mental health, which is that the pace of walking is different from most other forms of exercise we take, like running or cycling, or certainly the ones that we take outdoors. And actually, one of the things that happens when you walk is that you start to notice the detail of the world around you. I think that I became acutely aware of all of the individual plants that were around the path and the birds. And I found that I wanted to name them, and I found myself looking them up afterwards at the end of my walks and gradually learning this vocabulary of the path around me, that then when I next walked I could make those observations. I could look down and say, there's a celandine, there's a curl bunting or cell bunting, I never know how you pronounce them, I've only read them in books. They're these amazing little yellow birds that only really live in the south of Devon, and you sometimes see them in this kind of beautiful flash of creamy yellow, and you feel incredibly honoured because they're so rare. So that's, I suppose, what walking and its benefit for mental health means for me. I know that not everyone can walk, but I do think that if you can get outside, that there's something about being outside that invites contemplation and reflection. And we live in a world where it's so hard to do that. It's so great not to have a phone signal sometimes. And I actually am walking along Bolberry Down at the moment, which is between Thurleston and Salcombe on the South West Coast Path. And the great thing about Bolberry Down is that there are stretches of it that are wheelchair accessible. And several times when I've been walking along here, someone's whizzed past me on a mobility scooter, which honestly makes me so happy, because I know that not all of the path could be made accessible in that way, but it's so brilliant that some of it is. And I really, really, really would invite anyone who can make it onto a wild natural path for however long, in whatever format, to come out if they can, because my God, it does me some good.